a voting majority, and the minority of workers who lived in the city were not politically active. From here, it was a tale as old as time. Politicians in San Francisco scapegoated tech workers for the housing crisis the government created. The scapegoating, amplified by a thoughtless press, catalyzed anti-tech sentiment that increasingly influenced ballot propositions and local political races. Tech workers, ensconced in the world of their work, remain more or less oblivious of these developments. I think the technology industry can and should be blamed for one thing, taking this bullshit as long as it has. While the industry has caused none of the problems it's accused of causing, the absence of tech workers from local politics has been problematic, if understandable. I didn't realize... How can I describe it? I didn't realize that apparently San Francisco is the last vestige of the Old South of politics dominated by a bunch of wealthy landowners.
Boss Tweed.
Yeah. And also, I can't find it in this article. It must have been in commentary on this article. Someone pointed out that there's basically no physical evidence that the tech workers were ever there because they never built any new buildings or new parks or new campuses or new anything because they were never allowed. So when they leave, an archaeologist could be forgiven for thinking that, you know, the San Francisco tech boom was just something that San Franciscans made up to make themselves feel better. It reminds me actually of this one thing that Ludwig von Mises wrote about colonization, where he compares the British colonization of India to the Ottoman conquest of Hungary, and says in Hungary there's basically no evidence the Ottomans were ever there because they never built anything new and they never renamed anything. So you're not going to you'll basically find almost no new mosques, no new streets, no contributions to the language. So once they're gone, it's like they were never there in the first place, except for the delaying of Hungary's political development. Yeah. Unlike in India, where no matter what anybody says, we can agree that the English built things during their extended and unwelcome stay in the subcontinent.
Yeah.
For San Franciscans to think, oh, the tech workers don't contribute anything, you know, from their perspective, I suppose it does look like they don't contribute anything because you didn't let them build anything.
Yeah, it does look that way.
Past this, I think both of our points are just going to be Ayn Rand type, you parasites, you hurt those blessed producers. Actually, Ayn Rand would never use the word blessed.
And that's also a terrible...
Ayn Rand impression. Yeah. I keep getting told that my Ayn Rand impression is Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
I love our ability to constantly make references past each other. The Venn diagram of our references has almost no overlap.
Next article is a bit of a longer one. This one was left over from just last episode. I'll just read the headline and then just broad summaries. Reuters, BBC, and Bellingcat participated in covert UK Foreign Office-funded programs to weaken Russia, leak docs reveal. New leaked documents show that Reuters and the BBC's involvement in covert UK FCO programs to effect attitudinal change and weaken the Russian state's influence, alongside intel contractors and Bellingcat. So this is an article by Max Blumenthal, who I love and Dan doesn't, where he got leaked documents which demonstrated that the British Broadcasting Company, the state-owned news agency of the United Kingdom, also does work for British intelligence services. This is simultaneously news and not news. There's actually not much specifics here. It's one of those things that everybody kind of knows. It's not news to any of our listeners that there is, an anti-Russia hysteria among, liberals on both sides of the Atlantic. But, now we have a paper trail. This is kind of like finding out that, from Snowden, the NSA was spying on our phone calls, right? Some of us knew this since 2002, 2001, or whatever, right? It's like, hey, but some people need extra proof, although actually they don't, because you give them proof, and then they just say, well, I've said before you didn't have proof, but actually the truth is I don't care. Actually, I'm for it. I just didn't want to have to say it then.
Yeah.
Right. What makes this article interesting is, again, not the object level analysis of the article, which I still invite you to read because it's just interesting stuff. Meta level is how tech workers, or not how tech workers, how companies reacted to it, which was on Twitter when you shared this article. It said, warning, this article may source data obtained through hacking, which you'll notice is not a fact check. In fact, it does the opposite of warning you that the stuff in it might be true. It's as if to warn you, hey, if you look at this, you'll be seeing something you're not supposed to, which is a warning, I think, that only works on Shitlibs, because I think only like dumbass progressives would like see something that they're like, well, I'd be interested to know that, and then they'd see it say, whoa, it says here, well,
not approved.
This information is not approved, and any conclusions that you reach are fruit of the poison tree, and if you bring this up in like mixed liberal company, we'll know that you're a wrong thinker.
Yeah,
because we already told you this came from hacking. So
this is the same thing that happened with the Hillary emails, where I think it was Chris Cuomo who said, we're allowed to look at those and we'll let you know what they say, but you are not allowed to look at these or the WikiLeaks things, because this is illegal. And for a lot of people, they go, oh, okay, well then, Chris, you tell me what they say, and anything you leave off, I'll assume I'm not supposed to know.
Right. And to preempt a certain kind of person, there was a time...
This is where I get to the Michael Malice point, where he says that these people don't have souls, and they are not people.
Yeah, a certain kind of person, yes, there was a time when conservatives were like this and liberals weren't. However, we are not in that time, we're in this time. And in this time, liberals are like that, and conservatives are not. Conservatives love finding secret information. They used to not, now they do. So right now, I'm talking about liberals. One day, I'll be in a future, God willing, where conservatives dominate the culture again, and suddenly they don't want to hear stuff that's bad about the government because they're in control of it, and then I'll make fun of them for not wanting to see, you know, the hidden truths. But right now, the problem is progressives. Twitter was putting down these warnings saying that, yeah, this is bad thing, don't use it, fruit of the poison tree, and it put it under every use of the link. And I don't know why this one did it. I think Max was just cleverer than most, and he just thought of this great way to make his thing go viral, which is he started just he started just making up headlines, writing them out, and then linking to his article, and then it would say, warning, this came from hacking. So he'd be like, new information about aliens at Area 51, they're real, and then he would link to his article. And so people who would retweet it, and it would simply say aliens at Area 51, and then Twitter would warn you this came from hacking. And so people started really running with it, right? And so you saw, you know, people from all across the spectrum, including, well, mainly just people who are like anti-war libertarians, because that's kind of how it starts with Max, then it kind of goes to the rest of the people at the gray zone, then to like Caitlin Johnstone, then from Caitlin Johnstone, it then goes to like Ron Paul people, and then it filters out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Glenn Greenwald and such, and then to libertarians. And so many people were just sharing just the most insane headlines they could come up with, like warning through hacking. Max was saying this is like his most read article ever, or at least in the past few years. And a bunch of people then later got banned, and one person who got banned said, you were banned specifically for violating our rules against platform manipulation and spam. You may not use Twitter services in a manner intended to artificially amplify or suppress or information, or engage in behavior that manipulates or disrupts people's experience on Twitter. Note that if you attempt to evade a permanent suspension by creating a new account, we will suspend your new account. If you wish to appeal the suspension, please contact our support team. Now, what's amazing about this warning is that this justification is that it doesn't actually explain anything. And I know, Dan, you're itching to jump in. Yes?
No, you finish your point.
Yes, so...
I just understand. I now know what this is like.
Yeah. Nobody was told doing this meme got you suspended. But I kind of just put the pattern together because I kind of looked at it as like artificially amplify or suppress information. How can you artificially suppress information on your Twitter? What does that even mean?
Also, that line, I didn't understand that at all. And even artificially amplify, and that thing about intent is almost impossible to know. Every part of it, almost every word, hinges on something that is too nebulous. Like that thing about, what did they say? What was the whole quote again? To disrupt their experience. What does that mean? Because yes. I could disrupt your experience by saying, I think your point that you just made is stupid. That's definitely disruptive for someone to call your point stupid. I'm now disrupted.
Yes, but what it means...
It's all these subjective
yes
things that could cover any situation.
Yes.
Because what it effectively means is you violated our terms of service, which say that you did something we don't want you to do. You said something we don't want you to say. You shared an opinion, whatever. That's all it is you upset Jack Dorsey, and that's all there is to it.
If you really squint at it, and then I kind of just looked at who got suspended for doing it, and I kind of strangely enough, Max didn't get suspended for it.
Also, this phrase "permanently suspended."
Yeah.
How is it a suspension if it's permanent? Isn't that a termination?
Yeah, and indefinite suspension is to be a better.
But it is permanent.
Yeah.
So permanent is the key thing, not suspension. Because suspension does not the word suspend imply at some point it will get going again? Am I reading that into it? I don't know.
Because you can appeal it. Your account isn't deleted, right? In theory, they could bring it back if you appeal successfully.
This is so strange. It's Stalin-esque.
Yes,
it really is Stalin-esque.
Yes,
people don't say that. People don't say that enough, Marcel. People do not say that enough. Should I segue into my update?
Oh yeah, if you want to tell your story, go for it.
So as of, I don't know exactly when because I was busy doing something, but I found out about it about an hour or 2 hours ago. Just before we start recording this podcast, I signed into my long-standing Tumblr.com account, which has been there in good standing since 2011, I believe. Has archives, hundreds of thousands of posts going back, just to forever. And as of today, that is no longer in existence. I have been terminated, which I guess everybody thinks it can't happen to them. But when I see so many people in my tight circle, when I see, like Tiffany gets suspended all the time, Max gets deleted all the time, Michael gets deleted all the time. There's certain people that I interact with every day who are deleted once a month or more. And I thought at this point, I am untouchable. I've even bragged to people that I am undeletable because I'm uncancelable because I block so many people. I have a certain number of posts that are block magnets, like my New Atheism post or a number of others. And anytime someone responds stupidly, I block them. Today, I made a post about libertarians sharing fake news about Joe Biden and how embarrassing it is. And someone reblogged with a comment about how I don't fully agree with this, but I do agree with part of it. And they weren't really arguing with me. Their point was just useless and stupid. So I said, I'm going to block them so I never have to interact with them again. So I just do this all preemptively. And my thought is anybody who would have reported me can't even see any of my posts because I've blocked them. But I guess not. There's always more idiots being cropped up every day. Someone reported me for something, and I got this very vague Stalin-esque email about how my account has been terminated because I engaged in hate speech. And there's not even a hint as to what that could mean or what I did or said, or whether it was a post from 6 years ago that someone just reported today, or whether it was a post from 6 minutes ago that apparently was the final straw. I don't know. All I know is there is now a lot less great pictures of Donald Faison's physique in the world, a lot less Tom Hardy pictures, a lot less quotes from libertarian books. The world is a bit of a sadder place, I think, today. Tumblr is a bit
like you're just glossing over the other big thing that is the many big things, wonderful big things that you have on your blog.
I don't know what you mean, but
yeah, anyway. No worry, I don't either. Well,
anyway, it's all gone now.
Yeah, it's all gone now.
All my drafts of wonderful, brilliant articles I was going to write, great posts I was going to make in the future, all my liked posts, gone like tears and rain.
All right, so next article. So conservatives have been talking a lot about cancel culture. Oh, so some people might even be noticing, Marcel, what does this have to do? They're asking me and not Dan because they know I'm in charge of this operation. Marcel, don't you normally start? Yeah, don't you normally start with Democrat news? What is this just free for all you're doing? This is all Clown World stuff that was left over from previous episodes because otherwise they just keep piling up. So we're doing them front loaded. Conservatives have been using the phrase cancel culture a lot more lately. We had a pretty solid week of it. You had a bunch of people get suspended from Twitter. Gina Carano got fired from Disney Star Wars for being For being conservative, really. There's actually no other way to put it. She got fired for being conservative because